Nearly 1 year after threatening to withdraw from the United Nations Human Rights Council, Ambassador Nikki Haley and Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo have just delivered on that promise. As of today, the United States will no longer be a part of the UNHRC, and Nikki Haley has specifically cited the Council's alleged anti-Israel bias as the primary reason why. Here's her official statement.
There are several countries on the Human Rights Council who do share our values. Many of them strongly urged us to remain engaged in the Council. They are embarrassed by the obsessive mistreatment of Israel. They share our alarm with the hypocrisy of countries like Cuba, Venezuela, Democratic Republic of Congo, and others serving on the Council. Ultimately, however, many of these like-minded countries were unwilling to seriously challenge the status quo. We gave them opportunity after opportunity and many months of consultations, and yet they would not take a stand unless it was behind closed doors. Some even admittedly were fine with the blatant flaws of the Council, as long as they could pursue their own narrow agenda within the current structure.
Here with more on this development is ILTV's Brett Allen Smith. Brett, I don't think this exactly caught people off guard, but still, it's a very significant move, no?
Sure. I mean, this is something that the Trump administration has threatened to do, for quite some time now. And this also follows a well-worn strategy of the Trump administration in withdrawing from past international agreements, such as, the Paris Climate Accords and the JCPOA Iran nuclear deal. I think for Trump, the presumption here is that departing from these agreements is in line with his, America First policy, but at the same time, the obvious counter-argument is, if what the U.S. truly wants is a reform of these groups, how can they do that if they're no longer even a part of them? I mean, take the UN's Security Council as an example. There, Nikki Haley has repeatedly used American influence to veto resolutions that they feel are, biased against Israel. But as of now, they're officially not going to be able to do that anymore now that they've taken themselves out of the Human Rights Council, if the treatment of Israel is really the big issue here.
So that's an interesting point and actually a common criticism, though. I will say that Prime Minister Netanyahu has already praised America's decision to withdraw, and Nikki Haley says in her statement that staying in the Council at this time is hypocritical to its mission of serving human rights.
Yeah, I mean, I will say something else about the timing here. This withdrawal comes at a time when the Trump administration is facing severe criticism for its zero-tolerance immigration policy, which includes separating children of migrants from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border and keeping them in bare-bones holding centers all over the United States. Now, pictures and audio tapes of these facilities have already leaked out, along with testimonies of doctors and senators. And in these tapes, you can literally hear children crying for their parents, and some of them can be seen being held in cages. And the press has also learned of at least 3 tender age centers in southern Texas where children aged 3 and below are being held, again, separated from their parents who are facing prosecution for illegal entry, and with no end in sight here. In fact, just a few days ago, the head of the UN's Human Rights Council had this to say.
In the United States, I'm deeply concerned by recently adopted policies which punish children for their parents' actions. In the past 6 weeks, nearly 2,000 children have been forcibly separated from their parents. The American Association of Pediatrics has called this cruel practice government-sanctioned child abuse.
Well, as we know, President Trump has often defended this policy and accused Democratic lawmakers of having legislated it before his time. At this time, however, there doesn't appear to be an actual written law that requires this policy. It was seemingly put into action by Trump's Attorney General Jeff Sessions just last month. He was citing Reno v. Flores, I think, but that agreement is still in litigation. Now, on a coincidental side note, though, today also happens to be World Refugee Day. Correct, Brett?
Yeah, it is. You're right. The Pope has actually just tweeted a message of hope in honor of World Refugee Day. In the tweet, he specifically criticizes Trump's immigration policy here, which he slammed just a few days ago as immoral. And that's a sentiment that's in line with what countless Christian leaders across the United States have said as well. So, I just want to make it clear.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank you for joining us, and I appreciate the update. Thank you, Brett.
Of course.